Okay, we're going to call to order the Historic Preservation meeting for 11/10/20. Okay. Okay, first item up, roll call. Yvette?
Hey, thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
Jason.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Yes, we can hear you.
Right. Bill Warner?
Here.
Michelle Hazen?
Here.
Let's see, Bill. Kyra Lucas?
Present.
Danielle Massey?
Here.
Elizabeth Hausauer?
Here.
I guess she said yes. I can't hear. I
Here.
can hardly hear the board members.
Here.
Sir, make sure your mic is
Nesbitt?
on.
What?
Make sure your mic is on.
Here. Ooh. Okay.
Nicole Nesberg? Elizabeth Hawk?
Present.
Michael Hill?
Present.
Jay Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 5 members in person, so you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simmons. Next item up, adoption of the agenda. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, who made the motion?
Yes?
Who made the motion?
Bill Warner.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Elizabeth. Since we are having members attend virtually, I think we'll still need to do a roll call vote for all the items.
Okay with that?
Do we? Are they counted as part of the quorum? Yes.
Okay. Mr. Simmons, can you do a roll call?
Oh, yeah, is that the
Yes.
utility advisory board? Yep. It's the wrong agenda on all the computers.
You did.
Well, he did for us, but not for them.
Yes.
No, we didn't. He
Oh.
called all of us.
Yeah.
He called all of us.
Okay, all right. Well, the roll call
Both
was called.
here and remotely, yeah.
Okay. All right, next item up, approval of the minutes. Draft of minutes for August.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna do a roll call for that.
Not for the minutes.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The announcement, Mr. Simmons?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Section 30-3.5 of the Land Development Code establishes the Historic Preservation Board, including its composition and duties and authority. The Historic Preservation Board procedures are set forth in Section 30-4.28G of the Land Development Code. Appeals of Historic Preservation Board decisions are to the City Commission and must be filed within 14 days from the date the decision by the Historic Preservation Board is reduced to writing and served by certified or registered mail. The appeal procedure is specified in Section 30-4.28G of the Land Development Code.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simmons. Given we're going by what groups are here right now, we're gonna go ahead and skip to new business. So first item up, Mr. Simmons.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, this is Elizabeth, but member Lucas has her hand raised in the virtual meeting.
Okay,
I was just wondering, for those of us, the panelists who are on Zoom, are we allowed to vote even though we're on Zoom, or was that null and void after the governor's declaration?
It is my understanding, and Yvette could probably correct me if I'm incorrect in this, but as long as we have a quorum in person, that you are allowed to vote on items.
Okay, also, for those of the panelists on Zoom, do we have to raise our hand or can everyone like just hear us?
Mr. Chair, I'll leave that to your discretion, how you'd like me to handle that. People could speak at will, or I could let you know when somebody has their hand raised.
I would say just let us know when somebody's got their hand raised.
Yes, sir.
What was that?
We'll be raising our hands.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I want to identify right now, I have previously scheduled a presentation in the city of Waldo at 7.
Okay.
I'll be cutting out about a half an hour. And then time permitting, I'll be back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Warner.
Mr. Chair, this is Elizabeth. Could you please ask all of the members to lean into their microphone when they speak, because it's really difficult to hear you all.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
I have a question.
we're ready for new business.
Question, since we are losing Mr. Warner at 7, does that mean we will no longer have a quorum and can no longer vote?
Well, I believe that we just discussed the members on Zoom are voting also, so they're part of the quorum, correct?
Yeah, but we have to have 5 in person in order for those members to vote, correct? Yes, correct. So if we lose Mr. Warner soon, does that mean we no longer have a quorum?
Correct.
So we have, how long, what time does,
He's gotta be gone by 6, he's gotta be gone by 6:30.
so we have 30 minutes?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then what, we're gonna take a break?
If we don't have a quorum, we're gonna adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Yes, so.
Okay. Okay, Yvette, are you presenting this or is Jason?
Has this item been read in the record already?
Since,
It hasn't been read yet.
Okay.
can I ask one more question?
And this is the first item on the.
If you make it fast.
Since we have so many things on the meeting, can we make the presentations fast and maybe we can?
We've
get
already
on-
been working
Yeah,
on it.
okay, good.
All right, I'll go ahead and read this. I guess first one under new business petition. Can everyone hear me okay?
No.
Petition HP-20-101. Harry and Louis D. Rodriguez, Esquire, owner, certificate of appropriateness to construct an addition and replace windows on the Masonic Lodge number 41, located at 215 North Main Street. This building is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Is Jason gonna be conducting staff?
Yes.
Okay.
What are we doing? I'm waiting on the presentation to be pulled up.
Just a moment, it's loading.
Okay.
Share screen somewhere. I'm going to share my screen. I haven't said anything. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. This is HP 20-101, Masonic Lodge Edition. So as you know, the Masonic Lodge is on the National Register of Historic Places. It was built in 1908. The petition HP 19-112 is currently in process for placement of the building onto the local Register of Historic Places. You see some of the current work going on in the picture up in the right-hand corner. The scope of work for this new project includes new windows, repairs, new downspouts, new mechanical, electrical, and internal systems. You see some details here of the windows proposed. Now there's a proposed addition in the rear of the building along Northeast 3rd Avenue. It would be masonry and stucco that would house the elevator, the fire-rated exit stairs, and the 2 handicapped restrooms on both floors. Mechanical equipment will be on the roof and concealed with a parapet wall. And then there's also an exterior exit and covered landing on the east elevation. Yes, this is just a floor plan of the proposed addition. These are the renderings of the addition. See the south elevation up here, you have the north elevation here, and the east elevation down here. So the staff recommendation is that the board review the request for the proposed addition for petition HP-20-101. And then there are the draft motions for consideration. I'll go back to this slide. That concludes the PowerPoint.
Okay. Jason, could you back it up to the elevations? The proposed elevations, correct?
These,
Yeah, yeah. And back it up one further to the, where it showed the windows. So these are the door, well, okay.
you want me to go forward?
No, actually, I had a question with this one. Is this all the information we got on the windows, the drawing up in the right-hand side?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll have some questions for the petitioner in just a minute. Okay,
Mr. Chair, Member Lucas has her hand raised.
yes, Member Lucas?
I was also going to ask about the windows, but if we're waiting to ask the panelists about them, that's fine.
Yeah, we're going to discuss the windows.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we being asked to comment on this or only the addition? I thought this was already approved stuff.
Mr. Simmons, we're commenting on everything that's being proposed to us, correct?
Yes, this is just an overall scope of work, but the addition is a part of this as well as the window replacement.
Yeah, yeah, that's, we're,
I wasn't clear on that.
okay. Could we go forward to the drawing of the addition in the rear again? One more. Okay. I'm not sure if they have that ability. Could we back up one? Specifically, what I'm looking at is windows and doors on the addition. Okay. Okay. All right. The overhead's not here as far as I can see. It's there, but the table's not. Well, all right, let's go ahead and speak with the applicants so we can get some, ask questions and get some questions answered. Who's going to speak for the owner? Josh? Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm Josh Rashak, an architect, here to answer any questions.
Okay, Josh, I'll start with the windows first. Can you describe what they are and
Sure.
give me a little bit of information on them?
Yeah, they are, it's an Anderson window. It is a clad window, so it's a metal outside, wood inside, so the wood will be stained to match the interior trim.
Okay.
They are a fixed window, and we do have like the arched windows, it's a continuous arch window, just, you know, I guess that image
Yeah,
is
the picture
blocking the
kind of
arch.
blocks it, yeah.
So, yeah, it's an Anderson window that's, I mean, it's
Custom size to the openings?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Question right off the bat is, it shows a grill pattern up there. Is there a grill pattern proposed?
Yes, I guess that they thought that they wanted to have this grid pattern in the window. I think that was kind of like an owner preference that they wanted to do that. Sorry, yes, the owner had wanted to use a grid pattern in this window to, I think he thought it would be appropriate with the style of the building to have the mullions in there.
Okay,
But it has no munchins in it.
Presently, it does not.
right. And this would be simply a grill, but it would be one sheet of glass. So it's a
Correct.
faux divided light.
So is this a stock Anderson unit or built to the?
These are all custom built for this building.
Or these open, not just kind of the nearest?
No, they're custom made for this. I mean, we've actually done 2 test installs, so you can actually see them on the building right now to see how is the trim, because we didn't want to damage the interior trim to install these things. So it's been tricky to try to get these windows in line now. The first arch that they came with, it was actually off a little bit, so they're remanufacturing that. So these windows are completely custom for that space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other board comment or questions of the windows?
I guess I don't understand why they wouldn't just be what they are now, but upgraded. I don't understand the volume.
Mutton. I think it's really busy with the trim on the building and the style of the building. I personally don't care for it. I like everything else you're doing up there. It looks very nice, but I think that that's overkill.
Richard Wagner, Joiner Construction. I've been a contractor here in town for over 40 years. The city had hired our firm to do an analysis of the building when they were thinking about purchasing it. And Jay he was the architect. And as we went through it, we met with Ed Gable at the city. And Ed, if you remember, said, I would be acceptable to aluminum windows. We were in the Thomas Center and he looked out at the windows there and he said, that's a grid pattern there and you could use that type of window. Do you remember that? Okay, well, all right, but anyway, I'm not sure why Keith picked that particular one. That was outside my scope, but.
Okay. Well, I would just tell you that would be the first thing that would get struck down if this were reviewed by the state, and if it were reviewed for any kind of nomination, local register, or anything else, tax credits or anything. Because that does not meet the Secretary of the Interior requirements there, because that grill pattern is not typical of that period of building. And when this one was constructed, which was 1909, I believe. And so right there would be, I think, at least my personal biggest issue that I'm seeing so far with it. And
Mr. Chair, this is Elizabeth. Member Lucas has her hand raised.
okay, Member Lucas?
I don't know if it was said or not, I couldn't quite hear. Are these windows the same material, both in the in everything?
Kara, can you repeat that? We couldn't hear you.
What?
Can you repeat that? We couldn't hear you.
I was saying, are the new windows materially the same as the current windows?
No, the existing windows are all wood. The new windows are a clad window. They're aluminum clad windows, so they have wood on the inside and metal on the outside.
But the original windows also have no mullions.
They were one over
Muttons.
ones.
1/1.
They were 1/1 patterns
Right.
because they were a double hung.
I will agree that they're very busy.
Well, personally, the other concern I have with putting the divided lights in, they're not true divided light windows, which you really don't want fake grilled windows in a historic building like that.
That's what, you know, yeah, we need to check on that.
Okay. They'll be very expensive if they're true divided light.
Oh, they're expensive.
Well, they're
Yeah,
gonna be
they
expensive
spent
anyway.
yeah, I mean, and that's one thing with this building. You know, I was actually working with somebody else, even before the city, to renovate this, and then these guys came along and you know, what they're doing with it and the restoration is pretty phenomenal for what's happening here. You know, the copper gutters, copper brand new roof. I mean, they're
Oh, yeah.
we're only removing on the inside one wall in the second floor closet and a little closet in the kitchen area in the first floor. Otherwise, we're keeping everything. One thing that the building department is requesting that we do is flip the front doors. So, and the double doors for egress.
Yep,
So
I'd
we have to
expect that.
take that, and we've actually got somebody, a really fine woodworker, to redo all the wood jambs, to have them look appropriate and right. So, I mean, this is, yeah.
Oh, you're
These
doing,
guys are
you're
it.
doing a phenomenal job, no doubt about it. One thing I can ask you in the meantime, Josh, the new doors at the rear addition, those are all just storefront?
Yes, yeah, we have two, if you look at the first floor, it's a ground floor. So we have it's kind of a ground floor, it's a half floor. We got a ground floor, then first floor, then second floor. If you go to the ground floor, that should be on the first sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's two doors off on the north side. So one is an entrance door to the elevator lobby, and we actually have a side light for that. That's a storefront door, yeah. So the concept was, you know, originally thought we're not trying to mimic the existing building. So we're really kind of coming, and we did a little detail to separate them where the two buildings join to kind of push back the wall a little bit. And the parapet goes underneath all the dental and the frieze. So we're not touching any of the trim. And then we also have one egress door. Actually, it's where the old AC, the AC ductwork was going through a opening window. So we removed the AC, took everything, all the addition, well, it wasn't really clear, but all the mechanical will be on the addition roof, not on the existing roof. And we will have a storefront door there as well. That goes onto a little deck patio that'll lead to the outside. The outside area, you know, the concept was to have this as an event space for weddings things. So on the, on the south side, we'll have pavers, walkway, and that kind of thing, and landscaping.
Okay. One question, I know we don't get into, the historic board doesn't get into colors, but I am curious, the new windows and the door, and the storefront doors and all that, what kind of finish are you going with? Is it
Well,
gonna
if
be
you can
painted?
see, actually, they've already, the trim, because we did the test, is this, well, that's actually the color. You can kind of see.
For the window sashes, you mean?
Yeah, even the window, yeah, the window has there's one, I think in that photograph, on the north face, that upper left window is a new window. Yeah, so that was a test, we just did that as a test window. Yeah. Oh, the lower one, right.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so the trim color, it's a gray, it's kind of a darker gray color.
So you're going back to the original dark scheme is
Yeah,
where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And then on the storefront doors and all that in the addition, that would be matching that?
Yep.
Okay, bronze, okay.
Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, questions from the rest of the board on the addition or anything?
I'll just echo the comment that Muntins in the upper and lower sash of the replacement units is just historically totally inappropriate. And you know, you're doing a fine job otherwise on this. I like the distinction of the new from the old. Seems entirely appropriate the way you're going about it. But you know, I certainly wouldn't approve putting faux Muntins into the Muntins period, whether true divided or faux, into something, just imagining something that was never there in the first place, and inappropriate to that style of building.
Yeah, I just had a question about the addition here on the bottom picture here. So I noticed that with that addition, you know, where it looks like that, and this is just judging by the graph here and by the actual live picture, that it looks like if we approve that addition, we're going to lose those bottom 6 windows and those top 3. And so what I want to wonder to the builder and the applicant here is that, you know, what are we going to do with that? I mean, are you guys open to the idea of maybe repurposing those windows to somewhere in the addition, or?
We're actually keeping the windows, so let me kind of talk you through what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the photograph, on the first floor, we actually see it start to open up. We have to have 2 connections from the addition to it. So we're losing 2 windows for that. So we're losing the third, and you see on the second floor, there's no window. There's no window on that wall there, so there's one missing. Mm-hmm. So the third row, the third column of windows, the upper and the lower, that's where our new access is from the old building to the new building.
Okay.
Then the lower window and the upper window, we're actually keeping them. Where those windows are going to stay in place. So you still have the trim. We keep the windows. We'll probably just black them out because we have a service space in the addition. So the trim and the windows, those will stay.
Okay. Yeah, because just judging by this, it looked like you guys were just going to knock out that wall and just bring a block to that, and that's what I was concerned about, that we were going to lose all those windows.
Look at the floor plan, you can
let me
actually
see.
see the windows are still.
Yeah, they're still there. We're not touching them. Yeah.
It matches the Secretary of the Interior guidelines, it's perfect.
Let me see where that is. I'm going to check here. Okay, hold on a
So
second.
I have a question about the materials that are being used on the addition. What is that?
The whole addition is a masonry addition. So it's a block addition with a synthetic stucco finish. The whole thing. So it'll be I don't want to call it a smooth finish, but it's just a stucco finish with control joints in it. So it's very minimal. That's it. Yeah.
So I know the recommendation is to differentiate the old from the new.
Mhm.
I mean, but is there anything going on with this building that it just feels like it's a block of? I mean, is there something going on that I'm not seeing?
One thing that we're doing, yes. Well, I have a pointer. We have on this back piece here, we're having a metal structure roof here, and a metal column here, and there's a metal column here. So we wanted to protect this door. There's an existing kitchen door and a new door. So we have a metal roof piece here, metal column here, metal railing here, and we have.
Captioning can't be on the public page.
I apologize. Sorry about that. Yeah, technology. Yeah, so we have over the entrance doors, we're having a contemporary flat roof system on the north side, and they're on the what is that, the east side.
What,
So,
Copper, like the downspouts?
excuse me?
Are those gonna be, what kind of metal is that? The downspouts are copper?
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be copper?
Yeah.
so in that addition, the stairwell is closest to the back wall, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
So, I mean, is there any light source coming into that? It just, I don't know, I mean, I know
Well, it's a
differentiated, but it
fire-rated
just
stair.
feels like a big blank wall. I mean, is it, I mean,
well, Michelle, you gotta look at the original building. There was nothing symmetrical about the rear of the building, that was the service side. So, you know,
but you still had, you know, the arched windows, all the.
on the
it just-
end, yeah.
I
But
mean,
the
it's-
reality is, when you look at the staircases and where they've got things internally going on, there's not a lot of avenue to do anything symmetrical really there.
I don't know about symmetrical, but something. I mean, right now it just feels like a big block. I mean, it just doesn't feel like it has anything going. And I mean, there's only two sides of this building that are really street side, and I just don't feel like there's anything happening there other than a big block of cement, like concrete.
Yeah, I mean, that was, and it's positioned really, so you can't even see it. You're barely even gonna see it from any street. Well, you'll see it on the side street here, but if you're going down Main Street, you won't even know this addition's there.
But I mean, you do see it from the side street, which is, I mean, there's only really the north side and the west side that are viewpoints of this building, and we're changing that structure, you know, that's being changed, and that is one of the more visible facades of this building, right? So I don't know that I see,
And is there any opportunity for landscape or anything there?
For what?
Landscape, because.
Yeah, actually, on the north side, we're actually.
Because it is set back slightly.
Well, they're actually turning, doing a drop-off too. The site plan's kind of going through a review now, that on the front, on the north side of the building, after you turn, there are going to be a recessed drop-off
Okay.
for cars to come in there too. And then sidewalk that goes, just past the building goes to the addition entrance.
And there are actually doors at the ground floor that come out of that
Correct.
side that are somewhat
Yeah, there's two
symmetrical.
doors. There's a door for the elevator lobby, and they're both storefront doors, and a door for the stairwell.
Okay. Any other major issues right now, because we're running out of time? So,
I was just gonna make Richard Wagner again, the comparison that this is like the county building offices. If you remember that, the old commercial hotel.
Yeah.
And they needed to solve the problem of ADA and the elevator, so they stuck that appendage on, and this is the same thing.
it's a utility wing, I understand
When
completely.
we looked at it, it was internal, we moved it outside.
Yeah, yep.
I have one more quick question, and I know we gotta wrap it up. At the top of the parapet, is that?
Any kind of trim there? Is it like a metal? Is there copper along the top there?
Yes, it'll be a dark metal trim that's gonna match, it will match, yeah, it's good, it's a cap, a wall cap on the top of the
Okay.
parapet that will match the trim at the eave of the building.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the two windows on the back in between the gutters or the downspouts, is there any kind of trim detail around those? Because they don't look like they have anything around them, and that might be part of Michelle's.
Yeah, there is not, I mean, that was the whole point.
There's no windows back there.
Yeah, well, no, we have two
No,
windows.
there's two windows back there.
Yeah,
There's
we
two
have two
windows in
windows
the
on the back.
stairwell.
But that was the point, was to not trim, because, you know, you can either head down the avenue where we have kind of this lentil look on there and do that,
Right.
but the point was to not mimic what's going on in
Okay.
the building. So we consciously do not have any lintel, even the, our precast sills, it's gonna be flush, everything
Yeah,
will be
it's a
flush.
contemporary contrast,
Okay.
yeah. Okay,
Mr. Chair, Member Lucas has her hand raised.
Member Lucas?
Hi, thank you. I was wondering, are we voting on these two things together or separately? Because I will always support ADA additions. And I think the difference in the design work is, you know, like you said, it's a weird building, but it's good. But the windows, I'm not feeling super strong about. So I was wondering if we can vote on them separately.
Well, can we, because it's one COA?
It is it? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was one or two.
Can't we vote on the addition and stipulate that the windows have to be 1/1?
Yeah, we can continue the windows, basically.
yes,
Okay. let's
Is
do it.
everyone comfortable with the aluminum?
they're not aluminum.
They're aluminum on the outside.
They're aluminum clad on the exterior, but they're wood windows.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? All right, would somebody like to make a motion then? Well, actually, we got to open it up to public comment. Any public comment?
We have no public comment on this matter.
Okay.
I'm not clear, are we gonna amend the motion for the windows?
We're going to continue the windows.
We're gonna continue the windows?
Get
We're
them,
not voting on
that way you've got time to come back to us.
Okay, just want to talk about the process for construction and what's going on with our time frame, because we can do that and address the window. There's a whole lot of other stuff going on.
Right.
If this is continued for that with the windows,
No, we're only going to continue the windows. We're going to vote on the addition.
okay,
Well, I mean, do we,
okay, I understand.
I mean, do we have to continue it, or does everyone feel strongly that it should be
I
one
mean,
over
I
one?
know how I'd vote on the windows.
I
Can,
mean, why can't we just amend it to be 1/1? I mean, because
Yeah, then you can give us direction of what.
we're all feeling that, I think.
Okay, I think we're probably
I
pretty
mean,
much
are
in
they,
agreement. So
the
let's-
question is if they're open to doing a 1/1, and if they are, and if we can approve it with a 1/1, and
Yeah, let's go ahead and see how the motion reads. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Elizabeth.
Okay, well, actually, yeah, it would probably be better to continue the windows. for
Okay.
now. Yeah, let's continue the windows for now. Yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve HP 20-101 with the exception of the window design, with the window design to be continued.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Any further board comment? Okay, Mr. Simmons, can you read roll call?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Danielle Massey,
Aye.
Elizabeth Hausauer, Elizabeth Hausauer,
Oh my God. Aye.
Elizabeth Hawk,
Aye.
Michael Hill,
Aye.
Bill Warner,
Aye.
Michelle Hazen,
aye.
Kyra Lucas,
Aye.
Jay Reeves.
Aye.
Motion passes.
okay, thank you, thank you.
Let's see what's going to happen now.
We should have stayed till the weekend. So we've just lost the quorum in person.
Yep, we just lost the quorum in person, so we have to adjourn, correct? Okay. It's unfortunate, but the historic board, we just lost our quorum, so we are going to have to close the meeting.
If there's any public members here that have, anybody, I mean, do we want to have any discussions? I mean, obviously, we had some people show up. Do we want to see if there's any public comment or? I mean, we can't vote, but I didn't know if anybody's here to.
Yeah, are we allowed to listen? Yeah, I know we don't have.
I think we can.
We can't hear an item if we're not going to be voting on it.
We can't hear it and then continue to vote?
No, because we don't have a quorum in
We
order
don't
to
have a
do that.
quorum.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, that is really just too bad, so sad.
Well, we need board members. That's all I can say. All right, the meeting is closed officially.